No longer own any chip names.
Yeah.
Haven't for a long time.
Skyworks and Qorvo, I think, being maybe the last two that you did before you capitulated on those.
At about the 140 level going.
Yeah. Josh.
Yep.
NVIDIA, I think. I mean, it's
I want to.
Go ahead.
I want to pull up a chart of SMH. This is the VanEck Semiconductor Index ETF. This is one of those. This is one of those times where all of the companies in this index are moving in lockstep. There's almost no dispersion. I don't care which component you want to point to, because I think what Steve said about the macro and the double ordering of chips in 2021 is absolutely spot on. And the industry has to work through that, but they have to work through that at a time where, other than China, the rest of the world is raising rates and deliberately attempting to slow their economies to calm demand down, to bring down prices. So, like, that's the environment where, so people are like, oh, is NVIDIA a good company? Is Qualcomm a good company? None of that matters, right? It's not whether or not these are the best companies in the world. All of them. Name one. Lam Research, like, whichever name you want to name, they're all great companies. That's not the issue. Look at this chart. This is as defined of a downtrend as you could possibly find. Literally, since January 1st, this pattern of lower highs leading to lower lows, and then they have a rally, but it rallies to a lower high, and then even more lower lows. Why would you want to fight against that when you don't have to? Nobody is forcing you to do that. So what you're seeing is distribution. Let's talk about RSI very quickly. The RSI on the SMH index ETF that we talked about is 35. It's not oversold enough to say this is going to be the big bounce. It's in no man's land. Relative strength, this is a calculation that's looking at the last 14 days. It's taking an average of the up closes and the down closes, and not just how many up or down, but the magnitude of each, and then smoothing that out on a scale of 100. 35 is awful. That's momentum indicator confirming the low prices, right? So you want to see a momentum divergence. If you want to have a reason to get bullish on something in a downtrend, I want to see this thing stop making lows on RSI, even as price gets lower. Tells me things are getting less bad, or I want to see a really extreme washout. But 35 ain't going to cut it. Give me 25, and I'll tell you, all right, play this thing for a 10 or 15% bounce. It's just not where we are right now technically, so why fight it?
Okay. So, Jenny, there's Applied Materials, which you own, and there's Teradyne as well, and then there is Intel, which Goldman today says for a tactical trade buy puts ahead of the earnings at the end of this month.
I feel like that's getting bearish at the wrong time. And that's what everyone seems to be doing right now is, oh, gee, suddenly the strategists are lowering their expectations. Analysts are getting bearish. Here's the thing. Intel's already down 36% year to date, which I might say is 20% better than NVIDIA. It's trading at 10.5 times. To me, it's way too risky to put a short position on something that's already down that much. I think the bad news is baked into Intel. It seems like, and this is why I own it, it's just cheap, right? It's just producing cash. One thing, John, you said, I said it was 8% of S&P 500 earnings. No, I think it's the 8th largest contributor. I'm worried my data might be about a year and change old. No problem. So I'm gonna double check that. I'll put up what number it is right now on Twitter when the show's over. But so I look at that, and I look at Josh's comments and Steve's comments where they say, look, the Fed's tightening, it's a bear market, you can't buy anything. You can buy things, and I think one of the reasons why we own AMAT and Teradyne is because that way we don't need to say we want to invest in NVIDIA, we want to invest in AMD, we want to invest in Intel. You buy Teradyne, where it's testing equipment for semis, AMAT, where it's manufacturing equipment, you have exposure to all of it. These are great companies. What we've learned in the last several years
it's the same chart.
It doesn't matter. They're great companies, and this is where you parse out.
Oh, it doesn't?
No, it doesn't.
It was a great company. AMAT was a great company at 150. It's 90.
Josh.
We know it's a great company.
Oh, my gosh. This is where you need to parse out and say, all right, all the babies have been thrown out with the bathwater. Which ones have prospects that are valuable from this point today? Which ones are trading at the correct valuations today based on where their share prices are? You've got AMAT that's at 11 times earnings with double-digit growth ahead. You've got Teradyne at 18 times earnings with double-digit growth ahead. Did those get thrown out broadly? And is there value creation in them now? Are they not?
Those are fair valuations.
They are fair valuations.
Those are fair valuations,
Jenny. Buying now.
Okay.
That's why, Steve, when you said you didn't want to buy NVIDIA, I don't want to buy NVIDIA either. I want to buy something with a fair valuation. Because when you have a fair valuation and
you could have made that,
growth,
Jenny. You could have made that argument on any of the chip stocks at any point over the last decline. I mean, you could have made it, and I did make it at one point before exiting Skyworks at about 140 and Qorvo, and look at them now. Now they're selling at less than 10 times earnings. But the growth will not be 20%. That's the whole point. You're picking a moment in time, but markets trade on direction. If the direction of earnings is down, the stocks aren't going to recover.
Hold on. All you guys were buying all these frothy semi stocks like at the beginning of the year. You were all psyched about them. Yes, you were. Everybody was psyched about them.
That's not true, Jenny. Jenny, that's not true.
Okay.
What frothy stock did I buy in semis?
Steve, seriously? We had arguments on Qorvo. Okay, we've had arguments on NVIDIA. Everybody loved semis.
Qorvo was 12 times earnings.
Ago.
How's that
so now
frothy?
when they're down 45%, you don't want to buy them? Guys, this is when you do buy things. This is when you get bullish when things are down 45 and 50%. Not at the beginning of the year when they were trading at 80 times.
That's exactly right for somebody who's got to be always invested all the time. I don't have to be. So I don't have to make up excuses to put positions on and say it's great. You know, it's not. The earnings going down, the stock price is going to go down.
Be nice. She's not making up excuses. Be nice.
That I am not.
She's not making up excuses.
I'm returning fire.
Okay. We'll take a quick